Satellite coming down in 3, 2, 1.
Go, go, go!
Battlefield 2042's Portal mode included 6 maps at launch, and nearly a year and a half later, has 6 maps. This is extremely unfortunate, but the failure of Portal is a topic for another day. Of these 6 Portal maps, 2 came from Battlefield 3, Caspian Border and No Shar Canals. While I have significant disagreements on the selection of these maps, their implementation, and notably their assigned vehicle counts, these maps were nevertheless faithfully recreated in 2042. Because they were the most recent maps of the group, these play similar to most modern Battlefield maps. Then there are the maps of Bad Company 2, Arica Harbor and Valparaiso. These maps are without question the best of the Portal bunch. Originally well-respected and very good rush maps, both received a significant overhaul to make them work for a 64-player conquest mode. Valparaiso, in particular, is a near masterpiece. Once again, while the layouts were based on the rush counterparts, they do play well in conquest. However, both maps, especially Arica Harbor, need a massive vehicle reduction. These 4 maps, despite some gameplay quirks, are implemented well enough in Portal mode that DICE added them into the frequently recurring and very popular 64-player Exodus Conquest playlist. Meanwhile, there are 2 other maps from Portal which lay seemingly forgotten. The 2 maps from Battlefield 1942, El Alamein and the Battle of the Bulge. We are here today to discuss these maps. Some of you are probably thinking, Gravity, these maps suck. I wouldn't want them in Exodus Conquest anyway. And to that I say, I completely agree. Maybe DICE didn't understand which 1942 maps were actually good. There are, objectively, better maps which could have been chosen. Then perhaps there is the argument that DICE wanted to faithfully remaster these maps just as they were in 1942. Well, this is fine, except 1, both of these maps, especially El Alamein, were obviously going to be a rough experience for players, and 2, why go through the trouble of updating the Bad Company 2 maps for modern conquest play if you are going to leave these 2 maps rough and empty? Why not update them for the modern era? Well, whatever the case may be, 2042 launched, and this is what we have. Now, nearly 15 months and a grand total of only 4 new maps later, we are starting to wonder about the endgame of 2042. Sure, a Season 5 map is on the way, but in the end, this is pitiful. The state of 6 of the original 7 maps were so terrible at launch that it was decided to update them all over the course of the game's life. So with that being said, we know 2 things. First, that DICE is willing to redesign and update existing 2042 maps, and second, that the total final map count of 2042 is abysmal compared to previous titles, even Battlefield 5. So, since 2042 has 2 maps in such a poor state that they won't commit them to the playlists, and has an endgame map problem, I said, what the hell, I'll redesign them myself. The map terrain and design already exists, and would only need minor changes. No new or unique assets would need to be created, and can be significantly improved with existing 2042 map assets. And each map would fill a major void from the 2042 game experience. Therefore, given that we are coming up on the final 2 map reworks from the main game, being Discarded and Hourglass, and nearly 2 full seasons of content remain, it would not be an impossible nor unreasonable task for DICE to update these 2 maps in such a short time frame and present them to the community as a parting gift toward the end of the final season. This would increase the base game map pool for the 64-player Exodus playlist, and could even potentially be added to Breakthrough as well. Either way, this would create a path for squeezing as much content into the game as possible before the very end, and do it utilizing existing game assets to make it happen.
One last thing. As we go through the process of updating the 1942 maps, one question which may arise is that of their identity. Are they still World War II maps, or something modern? The short answer is that my main concern was making a good map, not about what era it was in. The longer answer is this. These are the only 2 maps in 2042 with vintage assets. I don't know how many are available to the dev team from this era, and I don't want to go through a process of making new ones. As you watch the process of adding assets to these maps, consider them modern. Maps in which the War of 2042 is revisiting as updated, previously fought on battle locations. Ergo, each map will have a mix of old and new style structures. This is not unprecedented. Wake Island clearly received a makeover with old World War II assets in BF2 and 3, and even Battlefield 2142 had maps which clearly contrasted with the future aesthetic. It is simple enough to work with this logic, and call these designs the 2023 versions, just as past Battlefield titles have done in their remakes.
This is part 1 of a 3-part series regarding the 1942 portal maps of El Alamein and the Battle of the Bulge. Part 2 will go into detail regarding my proposed rework of the Battle of the Bulge, and Part 3 will undertake the Herculean task of bringing El Alamein into the modern era. I can't wait to show you my updated designs. I am Gravity, and this is Battlefield Analysis. See you next time.